Hi, I'm Aaron J. Marks of aaronjmarks.com and commercetheory.com. Welcome to my podcast, A Higher Level, where everything we think, see, and do happens on a higher level. For as long as I can remember, I felt like my mind has worked just a little differently than most others. For my entire life, I've been studying, observing, and contemplating this incomparably strange and wonderful phenomenon called human existence, and trying to figure out what it's all about. People say the way of thinking and theorizing that comes from this offers an unusually high and rich level of insight, clarity, freedom, inspiration, and effortless creativity. And that's ultimately what a higher level is all about. The insight to understand how life works, the clarity to see where to go next, the freedom to go there, the inspiration to find joy and wonder along the journey, and the creativity to honor your particular brand of human genius. In this podcast, I'm going to break down and describe the concepts that come from my theories so that you can see into the fabric of the life you're living with greater depth and precision, and use that understanding to improve your results in every way that's meaningful to you. It's the only life you get, and the only chance you have to make a difference here. If there's one thing I know, it's that all lives can improve, and that the human race is just one big collective results improving system. Ready to find your place here? Fabulous. Let's get into the topic for this episode of A Higher Level. I'll see you again afterward and talk more about what it looks like to work with me. Until then, let's dive in. Hello. Welcome to A Higher Level. This is episode 26, and this is the first episode of what I'm calling season 2. I'm Aaron of aaronjmarks.com. It's great to be here with you, and thank you so much for joining me. So, season 2's been a little while in the making. I was looking back through my feed, and I have all these short ones, these short episodes that relate to blog posts that I write. These long form posts on my blog, and then I have ChatGPT make a summary of them, and then I sit down and record a quick podcast and video about them, and those are on my YouTube channel as well. So they're 2 to 3 minutes usually. So there's a bunch of those. But then like full episodes, there was one on October 20th or October 2nd. That's episode 25, which I called the end of season 1, and then another one, episode 26 on December 30th, right before the new year, which was sort of a finale ultimo of season 1. So this has been a little while in the making, figuring out what season 2 is going to be. And my thinking never it's never still. It's always moving around, always being influenced by things, and taking into account my conversations, things that I learn, and just stuff that comes to me when I'm out walking around, because I take a lot of walks and I get a lot of ideas on those walks, things I read, things I listen to. So season 2, I have a lot of content for you, and it's going to be 3 series, and it's going to be like I'm sitting down and busting them out, and that's what's nice about series, is that you can batch them, and if you're creating any kind of content, then you're likely familiar with that term, which is where you're like, okay, I need to make 10 posts, and I'm going to sit down and make 10 of them, and then I don't have to do it for a while. So thanks for your patience. If you're following this in real time, and uh, inevitably, some of you are listening to this at a later date when you don't experience that gap in real time, and that's always sort of fun to hear podcasters talk about those gaps, right? When you're like, oh, I don't experience it because I'm just listening back through it. But interesting thing, podcasts. So let's see. What would be what would be relevant to update you on? Um, yeah, and I sit down and I do this without having listened to the last couple episodes. But let's see, I wrote a book, The Complete Science of Human Dynamics. It ended up being about 140 pages. I made an online course to go with it. I'm currently beta testing that. So the first phase of that was having 15 people read it, and I didn't ask them to pay me for it. And I ended up essentially paying them because I had the book printed. Um, And then I had a networking event for them, and a bunch of people came to that. That was, I think, September of 2023. I rented a room at a convention center and catered it. And it was awesome. It was a really, really fabulous energy. So I saw that there's a sort of an energy that happens when I get people together. Something about the way I think and see things. And the book feedback was very positive, and so I edited a little bit and reformatted and created like a new edition. And this time I am having people pay for it, and committing to reading it and going through the online course to give me their feedback. And I'm trying to get 25 people to do that. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I'm 1 week into this process and the feedback is tremendous. And, I've already gotten some of the payments through the website, and people are really excited to do this. So, so that's really fun. Everything about the book has great energy, I noticed. And so let's see. I gave a presentation about a new theory that I came up with called commerce theory. Now, if you're watching this and you see the background, the metaphysics of leadership and creation, that was my no, it still is a theory that I came up with in 2023. It's still very much part of my thinking. It's going to be part of season two. I'm going to talk about a component of the metaphysics of leadership and creation that I don't think I've described systematically in audio before. But then I created a new theory called commerce theory, which boils all of human motivation and interaction down to just 5 parts, and gives you a framework to analyze and improve the results of any social group that you're a part of. So I'm very excited about that. I don't know how to package it yet, but it's certainly a way that I see things and a way that I work with things. So that's exciting. I'm going to talk about commerce theory. I actually part of codifying that, bringing that together, was recording podcasts about it. And I did that a couple months ago. I intuited that that was the right step to uh to move that forward, and I ended up with a bunch of podcasts that it was like, for the first time, it was like, oh, I can't use these, they're not clear enough, but they did get my thinking clearer, so that I was able to ultimately really streamline the theory. So part of season two is going to be me re-recording commerce theory with the clarity that I have in hindsight. So I'm excited about that. And then finally, and I think the first series in season two is going to be the 9 facets of my work. So a part of my perpetual challenge is that I don't want to pigeonhole myself. Like all the industry experts recommend that you niche. And I've been really resistant to that because I noticed that my thinking is appealing and helpful to all sorts of people. All sorts of people from different social groups, different professional positions, different organizational shapes, different points on political and ideological spectra, and different genders, different people at different places in life. And so I'm really resistant to planting my flag in any particular group of people who are struggling with a particular problem, because I just feel like my thinking has such a breadth to it that it's suitable, and it's able to solve all sorts of problems for people, all across different places in human existence. And so, um, I have the challenge of speaking evocatively but generally, and the 9 facets of my work is one way that I came up with to do that. So that's what the first series in season two is going to be about. And so the next episode will be probably a brief episode with me introducing that. There's actually going to be a lot of episodes in season two. This is going to be a very fertile, rich, uh, um, vein of content. These 3 things. So that's what you can look forward to in season two: the 9 facets of my work, and then an explanation of commerce theory, and then the metaphysics of leadership and creation, or the universal shape of leadership and creation, which is where we bridge the gap between purpose and strategy and action. If you're watching this, you can see it over what's my right shoulder, but it looks like the left side to you. These boxes where we go from purpose to strategy and strategy to action. When people create or accomplish or achieve or build anything, I think it always has those same 8 steps. And if you have a counterexample, I'd love to know. But as far as I can see, that's what the process always is. And so when people struggle with creation and leadership and building something, then chances are, I mean, and if this is true, it's not just chances are, it's inevitably true. You'll have a problem with one or more of those steps. And so we can look at that and say, okay, if you're not getting the results you want, where's it going wrong? Where's it breaking down? So yeah, and essentially it's like all this, it's like in the coaching industry, which is, at least part of what I do here. And I've experienced a lot of coaching. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of coaching. This is the way that I boil all of it down. And this is a way of, kind of covering the issues that I've seen, because I've had good coaches, I've had not so good coaches. And so it's like, what do the good coaches do well? And what do the not so good coaches not do well? This is essentially my answer. It's these 8 steps. So that's what I'm gonna no, that's actually gonna be the last part. So yeah, so the first part's the 9 facets of my work. The second part's commerce theory. Third part is breaking down the universal shape of leadership and creation, going from purpose to action in these 8 steps. So that's going to be season 2. And I'm really excited about it. And I'm glad that I took a few months to, kind of pull all that together, because this will actually be, a great collection of content, for people who are interested in my work and find it helpful. So I will see you in the next episode of A Higher Level. And I'll introduce the first series, which is the 9 facets of my work. Thanks for joining me on A Higher Level. I will see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining me on A Higher Level. If I've done my job right, you're seeing, thinking, and acting differently, with more clarity, more decisiveness, more intention, more success. The current state of your life is just a set of results, and they can all be improved. Doesn't matter whether it concerns yourself, your family, your friends, your community, your workplace, your investments, your world. Behave differently, act differently, communicate differently, and your results will change, guaranteed. But how do you change your actions, behaviors, and communications? If you're unsure, give me a shout. I've helped dozens of motivated leaders and organizations like you and yours to improve their results by discerning exactly the right next step. It's something not everyone can do, and it happens to be my specialty. Sound like something you can use? Learn more about me on all my media channels, and reach out to start your own conversation and improve your life in every way. There's nothing like it. And you're worth it, because if you're not, then no one is. Thanks again for joining me on A Higher Level. I'll talk to you next time, and we'll continue to see, think, and act on a higher level. Until then.